Darryl Dawkins did not just play this game, he was consumed by it. He gave the NBA something it had never seen and has not seen since: raw, explosive, uncontainable force in a body that seemed built for a different planet. He was the first player ever drafted straight from high school to the pros. He changed what the equipment of an entire professional sport looked like. And he did all of it before he fully understood what he was trading in order to get there. What that trade cost him is the story nobody finishes. Nobody has told this story the way it actually happened until right now. I am 58 years old. I have watched basketball for 35 years. I was at games where Moses Malone owned the paint in a way that made every other big man on the floor look like he was playing a different sport. I stood in press hallways where Charles Barkley filled every inch of available space just by existing. And I was there in November 1979 when Darryl Dawkins rose up against the Kansas City Kings and shattered a backboard so completely that the entire arena went silent before it erupted into something close to disbelief. In 1975, the Philadelphia 76ers drafted Darryl Dawkins directly from Maynard Evans High School in Orlando, Florida. He was a teenager. He had never played a college game. His family was poor. The NBA offered a way out of poverty, not just for him, but for the people he loved most. That financial pressure did not leave him when he entered the league. It shaped every decision he made from the moment he signed his name. Stay with me, because what I watched happen to this man over the next 4 decades, nobody has been fully honest about it. People called him Chocolate Thunder. They loved the dunks. They loved the names he gave them: the Chocolate Thunder flying, Robin Zine crying, teeth shaking, glass breaking, rump roasting, bun toasting, wham bam, glass breaker I am jam. They loved the spectacle of him. They packed arenas just to see what he might do on any given night. In November 1979, he shattered a backboard against Kansas City. Then, just weeks later, he shattered another one against San Antonio. The second one sent glass flying across the entire floor and stopped the game dead. The NBA responded by creating breakaway rims and writing new rules specifically around dunks powerful enough to destroy the backboard. One player, one body forced a professional sports league to redesign its own equipment. Nobody was asking what that same body was absorbing to produce those moments. I was in the building for Game 2 of the 1977 NBA Finals, Philadelphia against Portland. Press credential. Standing near the tunnel, close enough to the court to see faces clearly. Darryl Dawkins fell hard to the floor after a collision with Bobby Gross. Maurice Lucas of Portland came from behind and threw a cheap shot while Dawkins was still getting up. I saw the exact moment Dawkins registered what had just happened to him. A man sitting 2 rows back, named Gerald, from Chicago, maybe 45 years old at the time, leaned over to the man beside him and said quietly, "He is going to tear something apart tonight." Gerald was not wrong about that. Dawkins swung back. In the chaos, he connected with his own teammate, Doug Collins. Collins needed 4 stitches above his right eye. Dawkins and Lucas were both ejected. Then Dawkins walked into the locker room and tore a toilet clean off the wall. He whipped out a row of lockers with his bare hands and used one to barricade himself inside the room. He would not come out. Back in that era, that story just made his legend bigger. Fans loved it. Nobody asked what it was actually revealing. Here's what people say. They say Darryl Dawkins never reached his potential. They say he was a showman who lacked the discipline the game demands. They point to the foul numbers and shake their heads. Here's what actually happened. He holds the NBA record for personal fouls in a single season. 386 fouls in 1983 to 84. No player has come close since. In just 2 seasons, from 1982 to 1984, he fouled out of 44 games, more than a quarter of every game he played in that stretch. For comparison, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's single-season high for foul-outs was 7 games. But in the 1982 to 83 season, Dawkins posted a .599 field goal percentage, third in the entire league. When he stayed on the court and got the ball near the basket, he was almost impossible to stop. His coaches had to limit his minutes just to preserve him for crucial moments. The same physical aggression that made him dominant was also making him a liability. The league never helped him solve that problem. They just moved him along when the problem grew too inconvenient to manage. In 1985, Darryl Dawkins slipped in his bathtub. That is the sentence that unravels everything that comes after it. Not a playoff collision, not a dirty play in a hostile arena, his own bathtub in his own home. He seriously hurt his back. He needed 2 major surgeries over the next 2 years. The explosive power that had defined his entire identity as a basketball player began to disappear slowly, then completely. During the 1986 to 87 season, his back limited him to just 6 games in the entire year. Teams started treating him as damaged goods. He got traded to the New Jersey Nets, then to the Utah Jazz, then to the Detroit Pistons. Every move was a franchise deciding he was too physically compromised to build anything around. He arrived in Detroit already carrying damage that no surgeon had fully repaired. Then, while playing for the Pistons, he lost his estranged wife. The circumstances were private, but the people around him said the grief landed hard. He was managing chronic back pain, a career that had reduced him to 14 total games over 2 seasons in Detroit, and personal loss sitting on top of all of it at the same time. That is not something I have ever fully set aside, knowing that. A man with that much life in him, carrying all of that alone. In February 1989, the Pistons waived him. 4 months later, they won the NBA championship. The 76ers had traded him back in 1982. 9 months after that, they won the championship without him. Twice he left the team. Twice that team won the title almost immediately after his departure. Nobody had to say what that felt like. The numbers said it. He did not stop playing. That is the part that makes the whole story harder to sit with. Darryl Dawkins played professional basketball for 25 seasons. After the NBA let him go, he played in Italy. He suited up for the Harlem Globetrotters. He played in the Continental Basketball Association. He finally retired in 2000 at 43 years old. He became a coach and led the Pennsylvania Valley Dogs to a championship in the United States Basketball League. He worked with Autism Speaks. He worked with the Special Olympics. He waited tables. He drove trucks. He coated pipes. The man earning $700,000 a year by 1982 worked those jobs because the league he transformed never built anything beneath him to land on. In August 2015, Darryl Dawkins died in Allentown, Pennsylvania. He was 58 years old. The official cause was a heart attack. He left behind his wife, Janice, and their children, Dar, Tabitha, Nicholas, and Alexis. 17 days later, Moses Malone died. The NBA Players Association then launched mobile heart screening programs for retired players. That program did not exist before two legends died within 3 weeks of each other. The league needed both of them gone before it moved. The death certificate said heart attack, but I watched that body for 35 years. I watched it absorb playoff violence and 2 back surgeries and grief and 386 fouls in a single season and 25 years of professional basketball at the highest level. I watched the league take everything that body could produce and return nothing that would protect it when the producing was done. I am 58 years old, the same age he was. A heart attack is how the story ends. It is not how it starts. It starts in 1975 with a teenager from a poor family in Orlando who signed the next 25 years of his body to the league because he needed to take care of the people he loved. He gave the NBA its breakaway rims. He gave it the first high school player in the modern professional era. He gave it moments that people still talk about 5 decades later. And when the body finally gave out, the death certificate got one line, and the league got a new health program named after someone else. Chocolate Thunder, 58 years old. The rims he forced them to build are still hanging in those arenas. He is not.